The train doors were closing. The platform echoed with hurried footsteps, voices calling out, and the sharp whistle of departure. Among the crowd was a little girl, no older than 9, standing frozen while everyone else rushed around her. The train pulled away, leaving her behind. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She simply stood there, clutching a small notebook in her hands, her wide eyes silently following the fading train. And that's when Daniel noticed her. Daniel had been on the platform waiting for the next train when he saw Hira small, alone, and terribly still. At first, he thought maybe her parents were nearby, but no one came. People brushed past her, too busy with their own lives to stop. Something about the way she stood tugged at him. He walked over slowly and knelt down to her height. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked gently. The girl's eyes flicked to his lips, watching them carefully, but she didn't respond. Daniel frowned and tried again, speaking slower. Still nothing. Then she pulled out her notebook, flipped to a page, and handed it to him. In shaky handwriting, it read, "I can't hear. My parents were on that train." For a moment, Daniel's chest tightened. The station was loud, chaotic, and overwhelming, even for him. For a child who couldn't hear, being left behind must have been terrifying. He took a breath, gave her a reassuring smile, and wrote back, "It's okay, I'll help you." Her name was Lily. She was traveling with her parents, but in the rush, they hadn't realized she hadn't boarded the train. Daniel immediately tried contacting station security, but it was a busy evening and no one seemed to take the urgency to heart. They told him her parents would surely call in soon, that it would sort itself out. But as minutes turned to hours, no call came. Lily sat quietly on the bench beside him, scribbling little drawings in her notebook, flowers, birds, stars. She didn't seem panicked. Instead, there was a quiet strength about her, as if she had been through moments like this before. As the night stretched on, Daniel bought her food, and she thanked him with a smile brighter than any words could have carried. He learned that Lily had been born deaf. At school, other children didn't understand her. Some avoided her, others mocked her. She had grown used to being left behind, not just on trains, but in conversations, in classrooms, in the small moments of life that most people take for granted. Her parents loved her deeply, but even they struggled to fully understand her world of silence. Daniel was moved. He wasn't sure why, but something about this little girl stirred something inside him. He had always lived a fairly ordinary life. He'd wake up, work, go home. No big purpose, no miracles. But Lily's quiet resilience lit a spark in him. He didn't want her to feel forgotten, not tonight. Not ever. He spent the night with her at the station until finally, the next morning, her parents arrived frantic and tearful. They hugged her tightly, apologizing again and again. But as Lily clung to them, she turned back to Daniel and gave him a small folded piece of paper. When he opened it, his throat tightened. Inside, she had drawn 2 figures holding hands under a sky full of stars, and beneath it, she had written, "You listened to me, even though I can't hear. You are my miracle." Daniel didn't know what to say. All he could do was smile through the sting in his eyes as she waved goodbye. He thought that was the end, of that he had simply helped a lost child for one night. But life has a way of surprising us. A week later, he received a letter in the mail. Inside was an invitation from Lily's parents. They explained how deeply Lily had spoken of him, how she said for the first time, someone had truly seen her. They wanted him to visit. When Daniel did, he was welcomed not just into their home, but into Lily's world. She taught him sign language, patient and playful, and in return, he taught her how to paint the stars she loved drawing. Together, they built a language of kindness and creativity. Through Lily, Daniel began to see the world differently. Silence was no longer empty, it was full of unspoken beauty, of gestures, of expressions that carried more meaning than words ever could. She showed him that even the smallest act of compassion could change a life, and in turn, she found in him a friend who never left her behind. But their journey wasn't without struggles. At school, Lily still faced isolation. Teachers often forgot to include her. Classmates grew impatient when she took time to express herself. Daniel and her parents fought tirelessly for her right to be heard, for her right to belong. There were moments of frustration, tears, and setbacks. But Lily, with her boundless courage, always rose again. One day, during a school performance, the class was singing. Lily, unable to hear the melody, had been told to simply stand in the back. But Daniel had an idea. He taught her to sign the lyrics instead, turning the words into a flowing dance of her hands. That night, when the curtain rose, the audience saw not a girl left behind, but a girl leading with grace. She signed every word, her eyes shining with confidence. The crowd erupted into applause, some moved to tears. For the first time, Lily wasn't the child people overlooked as she was the one they couldn't stop watching. Daniel watched from the front row, his heart swelling. It was in that moment he truly believed in miracles. Not the kind where the seas part or the skies open, but the kind where a little girl once forgotten could rise and shine brighter than anyone imagined. Years later, Lily grew into a strong young woman, an advocate for others like her, teaching the world to listen with more than just ears. And Daniel, he often said meeting her was the moment his life found its purpose. He hadn't just saved the child at a train station as she had saved him too, showing him that miracles aren't something you wait for. Sometimes, miracles are people.